He's a former foreign policy advisor for the Obama campaign and a former State Department official. David, always good to see you. President Biden said it a couple times last night, buy American, except he keeps buying Russian oil and gas, and there seems to be a disconnect. Your thoughts?
Well, we buy about 5 to 10% of our crude oil from Russia. At this point, given the situation in Ukraine and given the ratcheting up of sanctions, even that is too much, but it's still a very low percentage of the oil that we use. Europe is in a very different situation. They're much more dependent upon oil and gas from Russia. My personal view is that as we ratchet up sanctions, we should also ratchet up sanctions on the energy sector in Russia. The reason is about 1/3 of Russia's revenues come from the energy sector. So ultimately, we are going to have to target it if we want to ensure that the sanctions have a maximal impact on Russia, and I expect we will. Now, it has been targeted some already. For instance, Nord Stream 2, which is the pipeline that Russia built with Germany that would have circumvented Ukraine, has now been sanctioned by the U.S., and Germany has also decided to put off certifying that pipeline. So that pipeline has not come on. And given the developments over the last few weeks, I don't expect it probably ever will come on. So ultimately, the U.S. and Europe are going to have to cooperate to sanction Russia if Putin does not pull out. And given what's happening on the ground in Ukraine, it certainly seems that he's pivoting his strategy, turning to aerial bombardment and artillery. So he's shelling the cities rather than going into the cities because his ground game has halted to a stall. For that reason, I think he's not going to pull out, though. He's just shifting his strategy, and we are going to have to continue to ratchet up sanctions.
I just want to go back, if I can, because you're right, 5 to 10%, but still, that's 15 million barrels a month. At $100 a barrel, that's $150 million a month. That's a lot of money to be, helping finance this war against Ukraine. And I just wonder why the president won't decide to do what a lot of politicians are asking him, especially Republicans, which is to cut off the spigot from Russia and turn on the fuel coming from the United States. I mean, energy independence is national security.
I completely agree with you that energy independence is very important for us and that we should be moving forward towards energy independence. And I also agree with you that even $1 of oil purchases from Russia right now, given what Russia is doing, is too much. What the Biden administration has done well, though, is ratcheting up the sanctions to hit all of Russia's industrial sectors. But the energy sector really is the most important. So if Putin does not pull out, and again, the events on the ground suggest he is not planning to pull out, we should ultimately sanction all of the state-owned energy companies that sell oil so that it would be impossible. In fact, it would be illegal for them to sell oil in the United States.